All right, dog. You first.
All I got to say is look for the sign because, ladies and gentlemen, it's opening day.
Everybody! Okay, Nancy, let me hear you now.
Apparently, I beat dog to this punch.
Yes, you did.
Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I ever get my nose. Root for the white. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old.
You know, I got a question before we do anything else. You know what this means real quick?
What that? Oh, signs at third base.
Yeah, but what's that sign for?
Stealing a base?
No. Let's go.
Okay, let's do this. Wait. I said it wrong. Say it.
Let's go.
Can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning! Snowman here to all you Brock Purdy and San Francisco 49er haters. Shut up! I gotta thank you, Shane.
I mean, whatever happened to the games where breaking 100 points was, I don't know, unusual?
There was one word to sum up the All-Star weekend.
Trays. Cause we take this job so serious.
Splash Brothers, yes. Ray Allen, replace him with Steve Kerr. Reggie Miller, yeah.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Right now!
It's opening day, baby. Let's get it.
Let's roll, y'all. Good morning. Welcome to the Tripped Out Opening Day Thursday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. This first hour is presented in part by Invader Coffee, fuel for the fearless. I had a little this morning. The boys are with me. The big dog is here. Vicla is with us from Chicago, and happy opening day, gentlemen.
Ooh-wee, it's baseball already?
Yeah, it is, baby.
Man, the smell of the grass is in the air. The hot dogs are getting cooked. The cleats are getting laced. And the rosin bag is behind the mound. I am set up and ready to lock and load today.
And the rosters are set, so I am ready to lock and load. I didn't tell the boys about this one, but I will let it loose now. Old Snowman's got an unprecedented doubleheader to kick off this.
What are you doing? What are you doing now, boss man?
You know I'm crazy.
Well, no kidding, but what are you doing now?
Listen, Victor has known longer than you how crazy I am.
I love the smell of fresh weather in the morning. Coming off that mitt, man, just that.
Just the snap of that glove the first time you hear it today.
When you pop that glove for the first time in the season.
Here's a funny thing, right? So I was when I was in high school, I went to a program called Upward Bound. You had something similar called Project Challenge, right, Snowman?
Yes, sir.
We got a chance like every summer from my sophomore year to my senior year, and actually after my senior year, we got a chance to go to East Illinois, just kind of like see what it's like to be on a campus, right? We have our dorm, we take classes until I had my bridge year, and then we didn't have to do anything. But when I was there, I had two really good friends of mine, one named Damien, the other named Brandon. These guys were really into baseball. I mean, as much as I was. So they would go out and they would like, toss the baseball around. I was like kind of getting into it myself. So my junior year, the guys were nice enough to get me a mitt. So they brought a third mitt for me. I was like, oh, y'all, man.
And now this turns into a Sandlot moment.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? My dad got me my first mitt. My dad got me my first mitt, and I got to tell y'all something. For 7 summers, I wore that sumbitch out.
Yeah. My first
dad gave me a hand because dad used to play catch with me all the time. Before his health started going, my dad and my granddad always used to play catch with me.
Yep, same here. My first mitt came from my dad, and I'll never forget it because Brandon and I both had black and white mitts. Mine had a checkered for the webbing, a checkered pattern for the webbing. So I always say, aim for the checkered flag when I was catching.
Yeah. I used to play catch with all of my neighbors, my dad, my grandpa, my grandpa's neighbors. That mitt went everywhere with me. I didn't care. Okay,
why would you?
My first, everybody knows this. The first team I ever fell in love with was the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
Which was 1982, and some guy named Ozzie Smith got me hooked.
I have a soft spot for the Cardinals for obvious reasons.
That magician himself in the infield.
Yep. Ozzie Smith was one of the reasons. Darryl Porter, the late Darryl Porter, World Series MVP, was another reason. I had so many people I loved on that team, but then my dad took me to my first White Sox game one year. It was over.
For me,
actually, he took me in '82.
For me, the first team I ever really followed and fell in love with was the Rangers.
That's cool.
It was the Rangers and the Astros, and I think it was the Astros for a big reason. You know that reason, Snowman.
The number 34. Nolan Ryan. Hey, but how can you not love the Astros with Nolan Ryan? Hey, Pizzle is with us. He says, good morning. Happy opening day and go Braves. Listen, the Major League Baseball coverage that's coming to Snowman Multimedia is going to be unprecedented. We're going to have full game play-by-play broadcasts, updates on others. We're going to do this old school and do it right. Now, the secret I've been keeping from the boys, and I think Victor got a clue of what I was up to, but here's the entire thing. 4:00 Eastern time today will be my first baseball broadcast. I've never, ever done opening day until today.
Good.
Now, there's a second part to this. There's a very, how did Bob Barker put it? There's a very interesting part to this coverage. It's a double dip today. On one monitor, on my main monitor in front of me, I'll have the Angels and the White Sox. On the monitor to my left, I will have the Mets and the Astros.
Nice.
They both pitch at 4:10, and we're going to keep an eye on both of them. And then later tonight, Duke and Arizona for a spot in the East Regional Championship.
And I wonder if Mr. Dietz is going to be there, because I know Dietz says he always catches the opening day games for the Mets. So
I think he will.
I'll see.
I don't know, because it's in Houston.
Oh, it's in Houston.
Yeah,
it's in Texas.
He'll probably catch the home opener.
Yeah. He'll catch the home opener with no problem. I'm catching the home opener virtually today. I've always wanted to be the voice of the Chicago White Sox. And today, thanks to technology, I'm going to make that dream a reality.
And the thing is, one of your favorite announcers is none other than the legendary Gene Honda.
Oh, Gene! I got to tell you all this story. 2005, my friend Barry and I were working a customer service job through a temp agency. Now, anyone who's worked for a temp agency knows how they work. The assignment knows how the assignment works. They could be luring you in for a full-time position and then backdoor you by shoving you out the door. That is what was going on. They were backdooring a lot of us, and we were wondering what the hell is going on, myself included. Well, when they backdoored us, Barry was included in that bunch.
Did we lose him?
I think he might be lagging just a tad. Nope.
There he goes.
Right here. So
yeah, you had a lag moment.
Yeah, a little bit of a freeze.
Come on, it's technology.
Exactly.
What do we
it's the 21st century where technology was supposed to be right.
Right.
So when they were shoving us out the door, I told you Barry must have thought I was George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and Lewis Black all at the same time, with a little bit of Eddie Murphy mixed in and a lot more of Red Fox mixed in.
Right.
You know what he did? He got me tickets to Sox Fest 2005.
Okay.
He didn't tell me what day. He told me we were going that Sunday, which was the final day.
Right.
He didn't tell me he had a trick up his sleeve.
Well, that figures.
So we're walking around. I'm nostalgic as all get out. Okay, seeing all the old cards and all the old players. Yeah, this is when Barry decided to pull a surprise. We walked into this town hall meeting, and the first voice I heard, besides all of us talking about the White Sox, was that of John Rooney. Who was the voice of the White Sox at the time. I turned and looked at Barry and said, I'm whooping your ass. And Barry just looked at me and said, you needed this.
Yeah.
So what do? I get the microphone, and all I did was praise John Rooney and his partner at the time, the late, great Ed Farmer, about how they call White Sox games. Apparently, I impressed him so much that he signed my baseball.
Nice.
And I talked with him for a good 20 minutes. I said, I'm doing baseball here in the area, doing play-by-play for high school baseball in the area. How should I do this? He put his arm around me and said, be yourself.
Yeah.
And I took a picture with him. I took a picture with one of my favorite announcers, John Rooney. The only regret is that I didn't get a chance to take a shot with Jim Durham.
Yeah.
That would have completed the trinity for me. Because I got a picture with Wayne Larrabee.
Yep.
And got a picture with John Rooney.
Yep.
Only doggone thing. And I think somebody from Ho-Chunk was trying to make it happen where I could meet Jim Durham. Unfortunately, at the time they were trying to arrange the meeting, Jim Durham had passed away.
Right. One of the jobs, everyone asked me, like, what was one of your favorite temp jobs? And I always say it's in Shurion because one, it was more of a laid back group of people. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
We would do and they did a lot of stuff that I had never seen the company do. Like every summer we'd have like a boat trip. Everyone just get on a cruise ship and just go around the one of the tour ships and just go around in the Chicago River. We would go out to Lake Michigan.
Nice.
Ride around there and then come on back in. And then
love it.
We went to Flight Deck, which is a dart arcade. Was nothing but darts. But the one thing I remember, I'd never forget, because my boss was so chill. He said I think it was on a Tuesday or Thursday. It was like my second or third day I was working. And I got done with most of my work. He said, you almost done? I said, yeah, I'm pretty much done with almost all my work. And he said, it's about 3:00. You want to go to a Sox game?
And Victor said, "What?"
Sure.
Vic was like, "Wait a minute."
What?
I was like, because I've never had bosses be that personable. Usually they like,
Yes.
do your work, get your stuff, and get out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
He was like, you wanted to go to a Sox game? I'm like, sure.
Internally, Vic was doing this.
You for real?
Literally. He showed me how to because he had got like a group of like season tickets, and then we could get digital tickets. So he showed me how to get the digital ticket, how to print it out, so I would have it when I got to the door, when I got to the gate.
Yep.
We took the train. There was a green line. Took the train down right to where Sox Park was. Got off, walked down there. When I tell you, man, that was one of the craziest, because they just went from like I was just gonna go do my work, go home. Now I didn't go home till like almost 11 o'clock because I went to a Sox game.
Oh, dig it! I mean, 2 years ago, now I told everybody in the crew my wife cannot stand baseball.
Right.
Okay. Do you know what she did for my 51st birthday?
What's that?
She gave me a White Sox birthday.
I asked this question. Why is it? And I asked this question with Mr. Spivey, and the same thing with Indiana. Indiana's a big market. Why don't they have an MLB team?
Chicago, that's why.
Exactly.
Chicago's the reason.
I mean, they have the rail cats, I believe.
The rail cats are in Gary. They got the Pacers and the Colts down this way, or up in Indy. I'll tell you exactly why Indy doesn't have a baseball team. Chicago's got 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Chicago's got 2 of them. And the folks in Indy love making the trip up there to see both parks. That's easy. That's easy. That's tourism for Chicago.
I really, really miss Comiskey. Like my heart breaks because I always see like how they changed. They're probably gonna change the name again. I think they already changed the name of the park again. Man,
change it back to New Comiskey Park, will you please?
At the very least, right? That's old Comiskey.
I'll even take U.S. Cellular Field, which is where the White Sox won the World Series.
Right.
Which was the name of the park when the White Sox won. I beg your pardon. But I'll take that. I'll take that. You know why I miss Old Comiskey Park? Well, my parents didn't expect me to get home the weekend of September 30th, which was the last day at Old Comiskey Park. Last game at Old Comiskey Park. I kind of did.
You kind of did.
Saw the final game.
Nice.
Saw the final out. Then I snuck out, and we got the hell out of Dodge and got back to campus.
There you go. Of course, most people know the one reason why I like the Cardinals is one, they're rivals of the Cubs, and you always got to go with that.
True.
But a very pretty young lady was a big time Cards fan.
Yeah, can you stand the rain?
Exactly.
Rain was about to kick your ass.
She probably will.
Wait a minute.
I've used that joke before.
Listen. There have been many times I've gone up to Moraine Valley College. I see Rain in one of those moves, and I'm praying Victor shows up.
Right. 2
reasons. 1, he knows how to tame the Rain. And 2, if he wasn't there, my ass was going to get kicked.
Yeah.
She would beat me up for laughs. Right. And she wouldn't really beat me up, okay?
Right.
Don't take it seriously, folks. She didn't take it seriously. She would just come over and pretend to be angry and ask me where Victor was. So Rain and I developed our friendship that way. But one afternoon, I went up to Moraine Valley. Victor was going to stay home.
I was.
Rain was not in a good mood. She had the trench coat on top of the Cardinals shirt. I stepped away and raced to the bathroom. I called Victor, and Victor said, "What? I'm sleeping. Get your punk ass up here now. I need you." What? Do you need me to say it again? Yes. Get your punk ass up here now. I need you. All right.
You
I
guys,
stayed in the bathroom.
I said I was working UPS, and
Yeah.
my 8-hour day, 5-hour day was starting to catch up with me. I was tired.
Yeah, he was Bush, and I never wanted to disturb Victor when he was really, really tired.
So
this time I had to.
Yeah, but my boss basically told me you're taking the next week off because usually you have to call in your vacations at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
So you call your regular vacation, you call your optional week where you could go into work if you want.
Yes.
I have been working basically two different shifts
nonstop
for a damn near month.
Mm-hmm. Longer than that. We're talking 5 to 6 weeks.
Yep. My boss said you're taking the next 2 weeks off. No questions asked. You will be paid for them. I promise you that.
I've had bosses do that to me.
I said, okay. So I get that call and I'm like, what? Get your punk ass up here now. I need you.
Mm-hmm. My exact sentence.
I said, it's going to take about a good 45 minutes. So
I said, I don't give a bleep. Get your punk ass up here.
So I showered, got dressed, got in my car, drove over to Marine. I came in and I'm already like, what?
I dragged him into the brand new cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, why are you dragging me in here? I'd have bought you lunch. I said, that's not the reason you're in here. He says, what? Feast your eyes on that look.
Yeah, she wasn't happy.
He took a look at Rain, looked at me, and he said, I got this. Get out of here. I'm gone. I took off.
I got it. Didn't get far, though.
No, I did not get far because just when I was about to hit the exit and escape, I got caught.
Yes, you did.
Nia caught me. And Nia's now a very dear friend of mine with her own family.
Mm-hmm.
But Nia caught me.
Yep.
And asked the question Jody often asks me. What do you think you're doing? I don't have my soundboard up here, but let me get it up here. But when she asked that question of what do you think you're doing? I went off.
Yep.
But in all seriousness, with this being opening day and a lot of memories, I just have one memory that I wish I could have created, but I couldn't because of failing health.
Mm-hmm.
I wish my dad for one game would have joined me in the booth.
That would have been great.
That would have been. We got memories in front of the television, breaking down games. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But when I became an announcer and became a sportscaster, and the first year I started doing baseball, I was going through a personal hell at the time, and Dad and I weren't speaking. Later on, when we reconnected and we kissed and made up, and I mean that literally. He gave me a kiss, I gave him a kiss, and we hugged until the sun burned out.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish that he could have shared the booth with me because that at that time I didn't know he was battling cancer. He didn't tell us until like 6 months before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew something was up when he kept saying chemotherapy.
Right.
And then he would come home from chemotherapy and was just wiped out. And most of my games were in the afternoons and the evenings.
Right.
But Dad's gonna be with me. I know he's been with me, especially when I was down in Lewisburg. Man, please.
Right.
When I was down in Lewisburg, I was the king of Lewisburg because I gave them something. Yes, I went there.
They viewed you as
Lewisburg. I'm gonna have to play the sound. It's for a very different purpose, but Lewisburg basically appointed me for the simplest of reasons. I was bringing play-by-play to them.
Good,
and they loved it.
Good.
They absolutely loved it.
trust me, I've got my own opening day memory myself, and this one I treasure for the life of me because of
Go
how
for
it
it.
kind of broke down. 2012, just barely waking up, I get a phone call. I'm talking this is 6 a.m.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, it's from a friend of mine saying, I've got a couple of monsters, I've got breakfast, get your ass downstairs in 5 minutes. We're going on a road trip.
Right.
Get downstairs in 5 minutes. We're going on a road trip.
Oh, yeah.
I drag my tail end downstairs. I jump in the car. I crack open a monster, take a couple of swigs off. And I'm like, okay, where are we going? He's like, shut up. Don't worry about it.
Gee, Jody has done that to me a few times.
Right.
Literally tells me, shut the F up. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going on a road trip. I got nothing else going on today. We're going on a road trip. I'm like, all right, cool. So from here to Boston is 6 hours.
Yeah.
On a good travel day.
Yep.
So we get down there, it's like noon. I'm like, dude, we're in the heart of Boston. It's opening day for the Red Sox. You realize traffic's going to be a bitch getting out, right? Because it doesn't process right off the top of my head that we're actually going to be there for this. He tells me, yeah, I know. Why do you think I got long-term parking? I'm like, all right, so we're going to be hanging around for a few hours. I take it. He's like, yeah, probably about 2.5 to 3, depending on how things go. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Still didn't put it together.
Still didn't understand.
No, this is after 2 monsters and breakfast. He's like, we're going to go grab lunch over here because we parked close to an actual like deli.
Yes.
You know, you got so many of those hanging around in the heart of Boston that are just amazing.
You do. Yes, you do.
And he's like, we're going to go grab lunch and then we're going to opening day. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've got 2 tickets in the bleachers above the bullpens, dude. We're going to opening day. What?
No, it's how Mike said. I'll kill you later.
Exactly.
I'm like, you woke my ass up to take me to opening day at Fenway. He's like, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You son of a bitch, I'm kicking your ass later.
Like I said, I'll kill you later.
I'll kill you later. Exactly. Let's take a break. Share your opening day memories with us while we have the show going on. Mic Drop Moran will come at the bottom of hour 2, but coming up next, I have a little message for Ravens fans.
Oh, God.
And they ain't gonna like it.
Dear.
I was thinking about this on the way in today, which some Ravens fans will look at me and go, "You fool!" But I can statistically back up my point. What's the point? You'll find out in a deuce.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
Here's Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the opening day edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have you all with us. Got the big dog here, Vic Law, joining us. And, of course, the folks like A. Pizzle and Jeffrey in the Fanatics feedback zone are cool with this as well. He says, go Rangers. Rangers gonna be nothing to sneeze at. We will make our predictions a little bit later. But I got a little football note to pass along.
Here we go.
Ravens fans are not going to be happy. Dear Ravens fans, don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson is a spectacular athlete and a good quarterback. But I'm going to give you 4 words that you ain't going to like.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy is better. And I have the statistics to back me up.
Uh-oh.
But I won't need to use those when all I will have to say is, in a 3-year span, Mr. Irrelevant has made the 49ers very relevant and himself to the point where I don't think Lamar deserved the contract he got. I'm going to get to why in a moment. In fact, I'll go one step further. You know that MVP last year that he got? He didn't deserve that either. And I will tell you why. And I know this is a regular season award. I get that. I understand that. But hear me out, y'all. In a 3-year span, Brock Purdy has taken the 49ers to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance. Lamar Jackson has had the number 1 seed twice. Both times he's failed. He got beat by Tennessee and he got beat by the Kansas City Chiefs. In his own house.
Yep.
So you mean to tell me that the Ravens' biggest problem is this guy?
Yep. I've said it for the last 5 years. I've said it for the last 5 years. Is Lamar the perfect quarterback for the Ravens? Yes, he is. I will never, ever say otherwise. Ever. Okay?
But
what I'm saying is he's been outperformed.
Yeah.
Now, head to head, Lamar Jackson put a foot in my 49ers ass, and I called that game on Christmas night, 2023. Head to head, yes, Lamar has the advantage. Okay. Matter of fact, since 2019, Lamar has faced the 49ers twice and has beaten us twice. Okay. Those are facts. Since there are some people that claim I don't use facts to back up my opinions, you can shut up now because I've done that for the 30-year entirety I've been in sports talk.
Right.
What I'm saying is Purdy has had a better go of it in postseason action than Lamar does.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the next point that Ravens fans are going to make. The next point they're going to make is, well, Purdy's had a stacked team. Give me this button right here.
What did the Ravens have had?
Just a minute. Just a minute. Go with me on this one. You know the next argument that people will make against Brock Purdy. Well, he's had a stacked team. Well, isn't that the f***ing idea? You want to win Super Bowls, correct, Ravens fans? You want championships because that's what you pay Lamar for. Championships. Not just divisional championships either. We're talking conference championships and Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Of course, right now, the world belongs to Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. No argument. And I won't offer an argument either, especially after the Eagles put a foot in Patrick Mahomes' ass.
Yeah.
They cranked that sumbitch sideways and shoved it up there.
Yep.
And I will say nothing to the contrary. Nothing. Oh, here goes my.
I mean, here the thing about it is, it could always be worse. You could be Chicago and actually screwed up and did all this.
This guy. Or
it could be worse than that. You could be Dallas.
It could be this worse.
This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation.
Exactly.
I mean, always be the absolute bottom of the barrel, and you have to deal with this clown all the damn time. You know, shut up, Father. We don't need you right now.
Hey, Father. Contrary to your point, this is why Tom Brady left.
I mean, you're not wrong, son.
He is the exact reason why Tom Brady left. And 2 years before Tom Brady left, guess who predicted it? His dad.
Yeah, the issue to me is that right now the Ravens had a chance to really make hay in the playoffs, especially when, again, you had the steal of the season.
Yep.
When you got Derrick Henry.
Go on, Victor.
You did not utilize him. You used him. You did not utilize him. There's a difference between utilizing and using.
You're not
they're
wrong.
They're not utilizing him.
Exactly.
They are not utilizing him at all.
You had a guy who basically struck fear in the hearts of the entire division, and yet you continuously let Lamar Jackson take the football. Not saying he can't run, but he shouldn't be running 30, 40 times a game. That's what you got Derrick Henry for.
Exactly. I mean, Henry needs to be touching the ball at least 25 times a game.
Yes.
You sign a back as dangerous as Henry, you got to use him.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, Lamar has only one 4,000-yard season, and that was this past year. You still should have been using Derrick Henry. You don't need even though this is a pass-happy league right now. Thank you, Tom Brady, Steve Young, and others. This is a pass-happy NFL right now. you shouldn't have your quarterback throw for 4,000 yards, A, unless necessary, and B, if you don't have a running back to back you up. As a matter of fact, he didn't have that much more than Purdy did, and Purdy played one less game.
Yes.
Two less games, as a matter of fact. LeBron.
You see, even when it comes to football, yes, LeBron.
It is you.
Right?
It always will be you. It always will be you. Forever and ever.
Amen. Amen.
You, LeBron. You, and you. You.
Oh.
I blew that. Let me try that again. Lamar played all 17 games last year and threw for, I just had the number in front of me, 4,000. Where the hell did it go? I just had it. Okay, 4,172 yards.
Mm.
Brock played 15 games, which means he played 2 less games. He threw for 3,864 yards, which meant almost back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons.
Right.
In fact, in the year where the Niners did have a stacked team, he only played 16 games, was a Pro Bowler, and threw for the most yards in 49er history at 4,280, eclipsing Jeff Garcia, becoming the third quarterback to throw for 4,000 in a season. I nearly said in a game. Get the NFL blitz out of your head, Brian. I'm really batting 1,000 this morning. He threw for 4,280 yards, becoming only the third quarterback in 49er history to throw for 4,000 in a season. I mentioned Jeff Garcia. You know who the other one is? He's a Hall of Famer, Steve Young. Which means the legendary Joe Montana didn't throw for 4,000 in a season. You know what the best part about that era was?
He didn't need to.
He didn't have to.
He had a run game behind him.
Roger Craig, anybody?
And when it came to red zone offense, those Niners were the most lethal.
Yes, they were.
For a span of 11 years, we're talking between 1981 and 1992, 8 of those 11 years, the red zone efficiency belonged to the 49ers. In fact, in Steve Young's second full year as a starter, 1992, the NFL average, now never forget this graphic because it was during a playoff game between the 49ers and the Washington Redskins. Not the Commanders, not the football team, the Washington Redskins.
That's right. With the old JFK.
The NFL average in red zone efficiency was 46.8.
Oh, wow.
You know what the 49ers red zone efficiency was?
What that?
62.3.
Which means they were scoring whenever they stepped in the red zone. They scored.
Which means they were scoring touchdowns whenever they stepped into the red zone.
They scored thank you. They scored touchdowns.
It befell to the 49ers this year to not have that kind of red zone efficiency. But in 2023, you know what the 49ers red zone efficiency touchdown-wise was? 61.9.
Jeez.
That's lethal.
That is.
And that's what the
only other team that was better was the team they faced in the Super Bowl in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
Which is why we had the Super Bowl that we had in Super Bowl 58 in Vegas.
Right.
And
which is why we didn't get
voices.
Which is why we didn't sign off the air until 1:30 in the morning, which is why listen, Dog texted me the next morning when I finally opened my eyes and my wife was giving me a hug saying you did a great job. And the dog texted me this exact message, quote, the show today. We are resting.
Yeah.
I went back to sleep. My wife says, apparently you're not doing a show today. No, ma'am. She smiled and said, I wonder why. But my point is, everything Lamar Jackson can do, Brock Purdy can do better. And this is the season Brock has used his legs more, and nobody saw a clue about that until the playoffs the previous season when he ran for big first downs against the Packers. I'm looking at you, Trey Larkins, big time Packer fan, and against the Detroit Lions when he had not one, not two, but 3 plus 10-yard gains in the second half. Brock Purdy doesn't need to run. He just ran a lot last year because he didn't have his horses. Mm-hmm. That's all. Isaac Guerrero, Christian McCaffrey are RBs 1 and 2 since we let Jordan Mason and Eli Mitchell go. I'll have a full segment on the 49ers next week. Oh yeah, I might even do it tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, you know what Brock Purdy's QBR was in 2023? 72.8. Why am I bringing that up? He led the league. Last year, it was Lamar at 77.3 and a big-time QBR of 119.6. Brock led the year before at 113 and 72.8. Mm-hmm. Now, the rating for Brock was still great last year in only 15 games at 96.1. Can he do better? Of course. Can the 49ers do better? Of course. My point is the quarterback play is quite different. Baltimore, you stole Derrick Henry from Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
You stole Derrick Henry from Tennessee. You didn't pay him much, but you stole him. And yes, everybody's catching strays from me today. You stole him and didn't do a damn thing with him. Because in the many games that we called with the Baltimore Ravens, we were pleading for y'all to run Derrick Henry ragged. That's what Derrick Henry is there for. Mm-hmm. That's what Derrick Henry is there for. And I hate saying it like this, and I know Charles Faulkner, a dear friend of mine of the past decade, is going to get mad at me for saying it this way, but I'm going to say it this way anyway. When you stole Derrick Henry and put him in your offense, he's there to do what? Run the football. Instead, you treated him like a pussy.
Jeez.
Damn.
Let me say that again for those of us in the cheap seats at Old Candlestick Park. You stole Derrick Henry from Tennessee. He chose you guys because you had an actual running offense. But you know something? You treated him like a pussy. Did he get 1,000 yards? Yes, he did. But when
got that in spite of the offense.
That in spite of Lamar Jackson running the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
You switch offensive coordinators, you get rid of the Roman, and you bring in somebody else, and you're still running Lamar Jackson ragged. That duty goes to your running backs,
right?
Or back in this case, in Derrick Henry. But still, I say this, and I say this with all the love in my heart. You got a great team, Baltimore, but you're treating Derrick Henry like a pussy because you're not running him. Dag nabbit. Now do the right thing and run him, or Lamar will forever, in my eyes, be second best to Brock Purdy. Because Brock Purdy and the 49ers have a powerful, efficient offense. You may not think that way now with everybody they let go, but my next 2 words are watch this.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, and by the way, Baltimore, the Niners get a healthy, chomping at the bit, ready to roll Christian McCaffrey back. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Isaac Guerrero, the fabulous rookie from Louisville, 512 yards.
Right.
You need Baltimore to do what you were doing in 2019 before you shriveled up like a pussy in the playoffs. Run the football with your running backs. And I'll say that for the 3rd time. You treated Derrick Henry like a pussy and didn't give him the football when you needed to. That's why, in my eyes, until I see different, Brock Purdy is better than Lamar Jackson, period. That's Snowman's take. What is yours?
Damn.
Okay. What?
Man got loaded up on the Tommy today and just started spraying.
Look, I don't care any. I am 52 years old. Okay? When it comes to telling the truth about sports, I ran out of to give 20 years ago.
I can tell. Bruh.
A Pizzle says, when is Brock getting paid? This summer. They're working on an extension for him as we speak. Oh, and believe me, Brock's going to get paid. The only quarterback I see that's better than Brock right now is Patrick Mahomes. And better than him is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts, Hurricane Greg is with us. Blessings to you, Hurricane Greg, says New York Yankees for the championship all the way. No, sir. No.
Nope.
And I got a very good reason about that and another snowman's take. Matter of fact, let's take a break right now. Matter of fact, why don't we just take it to the top of the hour? We'll take an early halftime break. This way I can go get some water. There's another tank to be loaded because I'm putting the Yankees on a hot seat.
Uh-oh.
I'll give Hank a text while we're in halftime.
Listen, but before we do, let me send a shout out to a very dear friend of mine who is the new radio voice of the New York Yankees, who replaced a legend in John Sterling and is going to create his own legend. I'm shouting out my good friend Dave Sims.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Y'all know Dave.
Yep.
And I have been friends with Dave 15 years. And he got it. If he can get his dream job at age 72, then damn it, so can we.
Might actually
Dave is 72 years young, looking like a young buck with his family and doing the damn thing. He and Susan Waldman will have the call 3 p.m. today on WFAN. I'm going to have that in my ears while I warm up for the White Sox and the Angels. And yes, Greg, the hot seat. He said, look at Greg. He says, not the hot seat, not the hot seat. Right. Oh, yeah. I'm frying their asses today.
Here we go.
Victor gave me some great advice when I restarted the show. He says, spare no one, including your own team.
Yep.
How many times have I fried my own teams on this show?
Enough. And I guess Dave is going to end up making Yankee coverage bearable. And yes, I'm saying that as a Red Sox fan. Deal with it.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I know you are. I know. Listen, as much of a Red Sox fan as you are, dog, even you, especially you, because you got me into it one morning. We're paying homage to John Sterling.
Yep.
Because you had me fishing for all kinds of clips the morning you did it.
As a Cowboys fan, how much have I excoriated? How much have I excoriated the Cowboys?
Enough.
They did that on their own. I just added to the fire.
Yeah. We're just pouring gasoline on that fire.
We just added fuel to even Victor, Shane, and I call out our own teams more often than any other teams. Okay?
That's the reason Father O'Shaughnessy's kicking around is because of what the Patriots did.
That's the reason Dr. K is kicking around because of what the Colts didn't do. And I'm going to have her on the show one day frying the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to be cuss-filled? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Well, we're at our normal halftime anyway, so screw it.
Yeah, we're at our normal halftime. I'm going to go get 2 big bottles of water with ice in it. Shane's going to push the button for the long halftime. And I will say this. Hour 2, all baseball until Mike Drop Moran arrives. After this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
One of the great things about ordering meals from Mother of Macros is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Click the national or local delivery link to access the menu, and we'll ship the meals right to your door. We understand you won't always have time to plan, shop, prepare, and cook to provide healthy nutrition for your family, so the process is simple and saves you hours. We know you're busy, so our meals are professionally prepared and packaged. You only need to heat them up and enjoy. We provide macro-balanced, delicious meals chock full of fresh, local ingredients with none of the stuff you don't want to eat. Plus, our menu changes every week, keeping your taste buds wanting more. We take care of your meals so you can worry about everything else on your list. Mother of Macros.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E. Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central.
During bad weather, driving can become downright dangerous.
What's your emergency, please?
Trust Battle Vision Storm, the revolutionary glare reduction glasses that turn your sight bright during bad weather at night or during the day. Watch your ordinary vision become extraordinary. Battle Vision Storm uses light-optimizing lenses that block blue rays, so you see clearly in heavy rain at night or blinding snow during the day. Heavy rain, snow, sleet, or fog can make it impossible to drive. Not with Battle Vision Storm. Get your Battle Vision Storm for only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get your very own at this low price. There is a strict limit of 4 Battle Vision Storm per order while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-483-6319 or visit battlevisionstorm.com. So call 1-800-483-6319 now.
Sports bettors, listen up. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back and in our 30th year of action. With live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds boosters, props and parlays, fast payouts, and exceptional one-to-one customer service, we got it all. And when you sign up today and use the code SNOWMAN, you will get a 125% deposit match on your deposit. Log on to BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything.
It's no secret. Today's consumer wants convenience and likes things on the go. They want to be listened to and receive instant solutions to their queries. This can often make or break the customer service experience. That's why it makes convenient interactions easy for you. Whether your customers want to connect with you via text, Facebook Messenger, Google, Instagram, or website, All messages now come to the one easy-to-use inbox, so you don't have to check a dozen different sites from the platform. From here, you can send SMS or email, answer questions, schedule appointments, take payments, and close more deals simply by messaging back and forth with your customers. When someone searches for a business like yours, they will look at your reviews. So unless you have more positive reviews, they'll choose someone else. Luck makes it easy to collect hundreds or even thousands of reviews from your customers. Simply send a review invitation or create automation that requests customer reviews right after the sale, or maybe right after a service is completed. It will take them 30 seconds or less to leave the review. Now those reviews will show up on the search result and increase your ranking that matters most. Plus, our advanced reporting will show you exactly where your leads are coming from and if your website or ads are doing their job. So why are you waiting? Put your business way in front of your competitors, get more leads, convert more of those leads to paying customers by getting started with today.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
A big shout out to my friend Ben Sutterth.
Hey, the general of the Rational Cowboy Fan Army.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. And Mike Drop Moran will be with us at the bottom of this hour. Okay, let's make some predictions. Major League Baseball style.
Mm-hmm.
For me, let's start in the American League. I am going to be very stupid when I say this.
Try me.
I'm going to be very crazy when I say this. I say the East goes through Toronto.
I don't think you're wrong.
A close second's going to be Baltimore. But here's the problem. Baltimore didn't do a dadgum thing in the offseason.
No, they really didn't. Meanwhile, Toronto shored up their pitching staff by adding Scherzer to it.
That is the key. Toronto has had their first ace since Roy Halladay.
Yeah.
Since Doc Halladay, and before him, Halladay was their first ace, and I know I'm dating myself here, but I don't care. Since a fellow I hated to the core, but loved watching him pitch, Juan Guzman.
And that says something, considering they also had Roger Clemens.
Clemens was an ace for a short time, but I'm talking about in terms of long-term aces.
Yeah.
It was Juan Guzman. And I hated Juan Guzman for the way he killed us in 93, man.
And I mean, yeah, I know Boston did a couple of things, shoring up their bullpen and adding a little bit of offense with Bregg, but at the same token, I just don't see the continuity in the team right now. I just don't.
I believe in the Blue Jays. I'm going to follow them this year, but I believe in the Blue Jays. So the East for me goes through Toronto. A wild card would be Baltimore.
Yes.
It could flip very easily because Baltimore's got that kind of offense.
Yeah, but the question is, who would it flip with? Because I don't see I don't see Tampa doing much this season because
Tampa gave everything up.
Yeah, not only did Tampa give everything up, but they're not even going to be playing technically at home this year.
No, they got a lot hanging on their plate.
Yeah,
they got a lot hanging over them. And I hate the fact that they lost Tropicana Field, but maybe this will prompt the city of Tampa to do something.
I hate to say it, but I've been reading into the tea leaves about things, and Tampa's already saying they're not going to do much after the Trop gets rebuilt.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, well, that's the economic situation down in Tampa.
Yeah.
Which, again, prompts me to say that the Rays...
Let me be the mayor of Tampa.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think the Rays are going to have a whole hell of a lot this season going for them.
No.
I mean, look at what happened during COVID when Toronto had to play down here.
In Florida.
Exactly.
They had to play in Florida until mid-2021.
Yeah.
When they actually got back in the Skydome. So the East for me goes through the Blue Jays. The Central Division, I have two choices. And they're the same two choices, Cleveland and Minnesota. But a wild card that could win the division in the Central Division would be Kansas City.
Kansas City needs to prove themselves to get the wild card, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. I mean, their offseason wasn't that spectacular either, but they've got the team that can get it there to begin with. It's just a matter of, can they hit that streak at the right time?
Yeah. Yeah, because we saw what happened with Kansas City last year. They just caught fire in August and rolled it all the way to October.
Yeah.
But can they do it for the entire season is my question.
I don't think so.
I don't either. I will say my White Sox will win more games than they did last year. That's the only prediction I'll make for them. But I can't wait to cover them this year because they got something cooking.
Yeah,
I won't say what it is yet, but they got something cooking.
I've got a feeling that the Central's probably going to end up running through Cleveland again.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. The West for me, let's go to the West. The American League West for me goes through Houston.
It's easily going to be in Texas. I don't see the Angels doing much of anything, and
Lord knows the Athletics aren't going to do anything.
Sacramento / Las Vegas / whatever
the hell they are. They're just calling themselves the Athletics this year, which I hate that because for me, they've always been the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
Why didn't the city of Oakland did everything they could? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. They were
ownership.
The ownership is cheap.
The ownership gave up on Oakland. Let's get it real.
Yes, they did.
I mean, I'll call it like
it's Seattle Supersonics Part 2.
Yeah.
I'll call it like I see it. And if I had a propane tank, I'd be roasting the ownership of the A's right now because of this. Because
you just might get your chance with me.
I think so.
Let's go to the National League. And I know Pizzle is not going to agree with me when I say this. The National League East will go through New York.
The Mets.
It will go through the Mets.
Juan Soto will provide the spark that they need.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the offense now, Pete Alonso alone did some damage.
And
but adding Juan Soto
and them signing Pete Alonso shored up, at least for this year, shored up what the Mets need to make a run to that division title.
Yeah, and having Juan Soto as long as they've got, I'm saying right now it's going to be a flip between the Mets and the Phillies. Atlanta's got no shot in hell right now.
I don't think Atlanta has a shot. Philadelphia could win the East, but I'm going back from last year. Second part of the season, they couldn't beat the Mets for anything.
No, they couldn't.
They couldn't beat the Mets for anything. That's why I'm going with the Mets to win the East. The National League Central?
Cubs and Cards?
Hell no.
I don't know, man. Both teams did a little bit of damage in the offseason.
Cards,
I'm
baby,
being real
but
about it.
we're never giving any time of that shine.
Look, the Cubs are already owing. Give me this button here. The Cubs are already 0-2. Fuck them. Okay.
Why do you think I put in the intro? Everyone's got a shot at perfection except for the Cubs.
Right.
The Central Division for me, it's a toss-up because
St. Louis and Milwaukee.
Yeah, St. Louis and Milwaukee. St. Louis, Milwaukee. St. Louis and Milwaukee, but a wild card that would come from this division, as strange as I'm going to sound in saying this, would be Pittsburgh.
The Pirates?
Pitching.
Paul Skeens would have to do a whole lot of damage in order for Pittsburgh to have a shot at the wild card.
True.
And
but it's St. Louis and Milwaukee in the race to the NL Central.
Yeah.
The National League West is going through Los Angeles.
There's no question.
I am not saying any. The National League West will go through Los Angeles, and they may be the only team that makes the playoffs from that division. I'm not even going to take a peek. At Sanford. I'm not going to take a peek at anybody else. Maybe San Francisco, but San Francisco will have to get on a serious 2021 type streak to claim the West.
That's not going to happen.
All the Dodgers did was reload for another title run.
Reload and add a few extra pieces to pick up where they actually dropped.
Yeah. Now, the American League wild cards. There will be 3 of them. Minnesota, Toronto, and Seattle for me.
I could see Seattle coming out of the West.
Mm-hmm.
But, you also got to think dealing with the West. If Houston doesn't get the division, I still say the West runs through Texas.
Yeah.
Whether it's Houston or the Rangers, the West runs through Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever doesn't win the division out of Texas will end up probably getting the wild card over Seattle. Unless Seattle goes on a heater.
The only problem I see with Texas is their pitching.
Yeah, that's got to be shored up.
The only problem I see with Texas is their pitching. They lost Scherzer. We don't know if DeGrom's going to be who he needs to be. Right? We don't know if we're going to see 2015 DeGrom. All right, 3 wild cards in the National League.
2 of them. I say 1 out of the East, 2 out of the Central.
1 out of the East for me would be Philadelphia.
Yeah, I could see that.
2 out of the Central. The loser between St. Louis and Milwaukee. That's 1. And taking a blind look at this, I don't think there will be a second team coming out of the Central.
You don't think so?
I'm taking an absolute blind look at this. Matter of fact, you know what? The winner between Milwaukee and St. Louis wins the division. The other team gets the wild card.
I could see that.
The other team gets the wild card. But I'll go back. You know what? There could be another team coming out of the East that may snatch a wild card. Washington.
Yeah, Washington, but they'd have to have at least 90 wins.
They must win at least 90. I'm not even going to try to predict the Giants winning the wild card out of the West, because for that to happen, the Giants have to start hot.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to blaze through people, and they ain't blazing through the. And I don't like the Dodgers. All right. Being a Giants fan, I don't like the Dodgers, but I ain't stupid. How do you put it, dog? I may be a homer, but I ain't
an idiot. I ain't an idiot.
I ain't stupid. My World Series champion's the Dodgers. I hate saying that aloud, but until you stop them, what do I always say? To be the champs, you must unseat the champs.
Woo!
And I don't see the Dodgers getting unseated for a while.
By the way, just curiosity killed the cat on this when I looked into the Giants' first 4 series. They're on the road to Cincinnati, they're on the road to Houston, then they host Seattle, and then host Cincinnati.
You know what? They could win each of those series, save Houston. They're on the road to Houston. I'm going to have that series on the channel.
They're on the road Monday, the 31st, 8:10 first pitch.
Yep. Oh, dear Lord. This is why I love baseball. This is the unpredictability. The unpredictability of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see someone unseat the Dodgers. Don't get me wrong, but I'll say it again, and y'all have heard me say it. To be the champs, you must unseat the champs.
Woo!
Woo! I say it again. To be the champs, you must unseat the champs.
I will never
Until
retire.
I see someone unseat the champs, stand with them.
Yeah.
Stand with them.
I'm looking, by the way, I'm looking at the opening day schedule, and we have got some absolute doozies on the schedule to start with.
All right. Take us through the schedule.
Your early games, that's going from 3 to 5. You've got the Brewers, the Yankees, Orioles, Blue Jays. There's a division rivalry to start
There you
off
go.
with.
There you go.
My beloved Red Sox take on the Texas Rangers, Phillies, Nationals. Oh, there you go. Braves, Padres, Pirates, Marlins, Giants, Reds, Guardians, Royals, Angels, White Sox, Mets, Astros, Twins, Cardinals, and then your nightcaps are the Tigers and Dodgers at 7:10, Cubs, Diamondbacks at 10:10, Athletics, Mariners. There's your West rivalry to kick off with.
There it is.
Also at 10:10.
Mm-hmm. Pitching matchup today for the White Sox. It'll be Kikuchi for the Angels, a lefty taking on Sean Burke for the White Sox, a pitching sensation. 6'6", 240, age 25, out of Maryland. He will get the ball today for the White Sox, and I'm excited to see him pitch. I'm excited to see the White Sox rebuild that pitching staff to what they had in 21. Meanwhile, for the Angels today is Yusei Kikuchi, 33-year-old left-hander, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds, out of Japan. He made his debut March 21st of 2019. So lefty versus righty. You can catch all the play-by-play action, old school style, on Snowman Sportsnet.
And speaking of the rest of the opening day starters, I also have those kicking around in front of me.
Let's do it.
Okay.
For Milwaukee against the Yankees, it's Freddie Peralta versus Carlos Rondon.
Okay.
Orioles, Blue Jays, it's Zach Eflin versus Jose Barrios. For the Red Sox, opening things up, it's going to be Garrett Crochet versus Texas's Nathan Eovaldi.
Y'all got a gem in Crochet. Y'all got a gem in the hard-throwing Crochet. I just want Crochet not to suffer what Chris Sale went through and stay healthy. We gave him away. The White Sox are stupid to give him away. But in snatching Sean Burke, I think it's going to be quite even. But y'all have an absolute gem in Crochet. I love Crochet.
In the National League East matchup of the Phillies and Washington, it's Zach Wheeler being countered by Mackenzie Gore. Atlanta and the Padres, it's Chris Sale versus Michael King. You already went through the Angels-White Sox matchup. In Cleveland versus Kansas City, it's Ben Lively versus Cole Reagans. Clay Holmes and Framber Valdez are going to be starting for the Mets.
Oh, goes for Houston. Nice.
Okay.
Framber Valdez is one of the most wicked, save Garrett Crochet and a couple of others. Framber Valdez is one of the most craftiest lefties you will see on the mound this year. I think he added a new pitch to his arsenal. Go on.
Giants, Reds, year 410. It's going to be Logan Webb versus Hunter Green. Pirates, Marlins, it's going to be Paul Skeens versus Sandy Alcantara. Twins, Cardinals, it's Pablo Lopez versus Sonny Gray. Tigers, Dodgers, it's Tarek Skubal versus Blake Snell. Athletics, Mariners, it's Luis Severino versus Logan Gilbert. And in the Cubs, D-back, it's Justin Steele versus Zach Gallen.
See, that's not fair. That's not fair.
We got some.
We're going to have some 1-0, 2-1 games here.
I wouldn't be surprised if the White Sox and the Astros game are not two of them. Are not two of them. See, give me the matchup for the Twins and the Cardinals again.
Twins, Cardinals. Let me just take a look. Twins, Cardinals. Scroll down. Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray.
Ooh, Cardinals snatched Sonny Gray. Detroit's going to get pulverized because it's the Dodgers. I already went through the Angels White Sox matchup. Framber Valdez goes for Houston. That's going to be fun for the Mets to contend with.
Yeah, they're getting Clay Holmes counters Framber.
Clay Holmes. That's going to be like a 2-1 game.
Oh, easily.
Framber Valdez has one of the nastiest sliders you will ever see.
Oh, yeah.
Nasty. We'll see what happens.
Low key, the Pirates Marlins matchup is going to low key be something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
If Alcantara can actually do what he used to do,
yes,
Pittsburgh's going to get locked up early.
Mm-hmm. Ryan McCarthy joining us. Good day, Snow Crew. Happy opening day to those who observe. I am one who observes, and I have an opening day call for the first time in my life. Well, save Chicago State and a couple of high schools. For the first time in a while. I'll say that. For the first time in a while, I'm doing an opening day game. I love it. And Tuesday, I'll have another opening day game. Details on that over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be very, very busy. Good Lord. All right. Let's do something else.
Okay.
Now, Hurricane Greg, I love you, brother. I love you so, so much. He says the Yankees will dethrone the champs. Not. Let me explain.
Yeah, that's a good thing I called. That's a good thing I called Hank.
Hey!
Wrong camera.
Wrong camera. This is live, folks. Let me try again.
Take that camera.
Yeah, okay. Give me this camera. The Yankees have no pitching. Let me say that again. When you lost Garrett Cole, your ace, to Tommy John surgery, and you probably won't see him for another year, God bless Garrett Cole, you lost your ace, which means you lost your pitching. What's the one thing that you need to compete for a World Series that the Dodgers have an abundance of and the Yankees don't? Say it with me, gentlemen. Pitch and ing.
Are you really going to trust Max Fried and Marcus Stroman?
Really? Marcus Stroman?
Marcus Stroman.
The hothead who couldn't stick with the Cubs for more than 2 years?
And let's not forget they added Devin Williams to the bullpen.
That's a mistake.
You think?
I mean, Devin Williams is still dealing with the stench of allowing a 3-run homer to Pete Alonso in the playoffs. And Devin Williams, in no way, shape, or form, is close to Mariano Rivera. To me, there's only one closer that fits the Yankees, and he's a Hall of Famer now. Mariano Rivera.
Number 42 from the bullpen, Mariano Rivera.
Yeah. Number 42. With Enter Sandman playing. Dear God, goosebumps. But anyway.
Facts.
You ain't. Listen, Yankees. I love you, but you ain't got no pitching. Okay? Same with Seattle. Same with the White Sox in many ways. Same with the Scrubs. Okay? Same with the Giants. And quite a few other teams. You got no pitch and ing. He said Hurricane Gray said those are hurting words. They're also facts. You got no pitch and ing. I won't say this until I am shown differently. I used to live in the state of Missouri. You got to show me. Which is part of the reason I'm a Cardinal fan. Because I was surrounded by them. Let me say this for those of you in the cheap seats at the old house. The house that Ruth built.
I was about to say
the old Busch Stadium.
House that the Babe and the house that the Mac built.
Yep. The house of the old house. Okay? Let me say this for those of us in the old seats at old Comiskey Park. All right? At old Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
Don't mind me. I'll be just sitting in the red seat where Ted Williams hit one ages ago.
At the old Metrodome in Minneapolis. I did 6 games there during a spring break weekend. And thank you, IU Northwest, for that opportunity. I still have those games, I think. Anyway. You got no pitch and ing. Okay? You got no Juan Soto either.
Nope.
So everything is going to fall on the shoulders of Aaron Judge.
You really think Cody Bellinger and a returning Paul Goldschmidt's going to matter?
No, and no. Let me try that again. No, and hell no.
I was about to say, don't make me get the bishop in here.
Listen, I love the fact that the Yankees are coming off an appearance in the World Series. Why do you think they got smacked around in said World Series?
Pitching.
No pitching. Do you understand me?
I mean, come on.
You ain't got no pitching, New York.
I mean, come on. They sent Nestor to Milwaukee after he gave up that dong to Freddie in Game 1.
Dear Nestor Cortez, enjoy living in infamy. Okay? Dear New York Yankees, y'all are going to struggle. Until your pitching gets shored up after you lost Garrett Cole for the season, and God bless him. Okay, I wish no injury on anybody. But the facts are these. When you lost Garrett Cole for the season, you ain't got no pitching. Period. Until you shore that up, which is going to take a couple of years because you're minus Garrett Cole, who's out dealing with Tommy John surgery, there is nothing else. How does my wife put it? Nothing. Do you understand that? When you have no pitching, you have nothing. When you have no pitch and ing, you have nothing. Period.
By the way, dear New York Yankees, be glad you didn't face Shohei when he was pitching. He's due to
I don't
come
think
back
Shohei is
soon.
ever going to pitch again. But see, Shohei doesn't need to pitch again.
No, he can just DH and drop 65 on everyone's head.
He can DH and drop a 70 home run season naturally and walk away with several MVPs.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Hurricane Greg, but I have to speak the truth. Let the truth set you free. And the truth is this. The New York Yankees have no pitch and ing. Period. Lewis Gill is out until June. All right. Marcus Stroman is only there because Garrett Cole's gone. How long is Marcus Stroman going to last? Ask the Chicago Cubs that question.
Ask the Blue Jays that question.
Oh, he was sitting pretty with the Blue Jays until his temper got the best of him. By the way, it happened in Chicago also. I watched it. And any Cub fan, like our guest coming in a couple of minutes, remembers what John Lester did in 2015 against the Cardinals in a game where he got thrown out. When you don't have pitching, you got no competition.
Nope.
Hell, I can say that about my beloved White Sox until we rebuild what we have. Okay?
I can say that about my Red Sox, and we're still piecing that together.
Yeah, so are we. So, before we get Mike Drop Moran in here and she gives me a virtual Stone Cold Stunner for talking about her Cubs, dear New York Yankees, you got no pitch and ing. Now get the hell out of here before I keep going. Now it's time for me to get yelled at. In my best impression of Gene Honda, please help me welcome Allison Moran.
Hi guys, how are you? You guys look so handsome today.
Thank you.
Not me. I'm not on camera.
You're a lucky man, sir. Do you know how long it takes me to put on this face?
Oh, come on, Allie.
Ladies and gentlemen, we already have our YouTube short for the day.
Allie, you are a natural beauty.
2 of them.
You are extremely smart, and you know your craft. Okay,
You're so sweet. Thank you.
I've known that about Allie for 14 years. She came to me. Okay, I didn't have to come to her. She came to me, and that was the end of that.
I mic dropped in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what could I do? I had to. It was my.
It was right there.
Yeah, it was there. So I
right
had
there.
to. Brian, you had been stalking me on Facebook for a while. So, and you're like, I got to get you on my show, and I'm like, okay, and then we finally met at the Sky game, and it was hilarious because I'm like, oh, it was you. And I'm like,
she gave me the Vince McMahon moment. It was you,
right?
Oh, son of a bitch!
Your cover was blown. You couldn't hide behind those cute little memes on Facebook or anything like that. It was you in the flesh.
In person.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz.
It was. Listen, Allie didn't like pull the curtains back like they did in the Wizard of Oz. Oh no, she lit a match and burn that sumbitch to the ground. But if there was ever a person that has been a friend for many, many years to me, despite even with our sports coverage, just being a friend to me off the mic, Allie, it is you here. That's why
you are so sweet. It's
and with it being opening day, I had to do Gene Honda, who is my all-time favorite PA announcer, and the person I had a chance to meet and see a couple times, not just at Sox Fest in 05, but a couple times at the hall, because he's at the hall. He's fun to talk to.
He's a sweet guy, and he's always there for you. It doesn't matter how many fans come up to him. Doesn't matter. He's just there, and he's a consummate professional. He reminds me a whole lot of Pat Hughes. Yeah, just the kindest, nicest guy. No matter what you say to him, he's like, oh, okay, I understand. I gotcha. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And
there was one year I wrote to Pat Hughes and I said, I'd love to have you on my show. And I didn't think he would get back to me. Huh? He got back to me quicker than I can blink, because as soon as I turned around, there was a message waiting for me. We set everything up and we did the interview. One of the kindest hearted people I've ever done an interview with. He and Gene Honda and John Rooney.
Yes.
I had Wayne Larrivee on, just that have been
all the good people
to us on this show. It is so much fun to have you and the rest of the folks that I've known in broadcasting for many years to be here. All right, down to business.
Yeah.
We lead with this. And I hate the fact that Juju Watkins is gone for the year, and I'm hurt.
This is one of the most serious injuries, an ACL tear, which was what Juju Watkins had in the second round or the first round? It was the second round of the NCAAs. And the thing that was great was that despite that, USC managed to steamroll the competition, and thanks to their I call them the Watkinettes, their backup crew. They are still a formidable addition to the Sweet 16. But you got to remember this, and that is, who has recovered from ACL injuries? You got Cameron Brink.
Cameron Brink.
You've got Paige Beckers.
Beckers.
Both of them came back from an ACLU tear. And I think that Juju is going to work her ass off for the next many months, because this is a year-long process with an ACL tear. And it's tragic that it happened at this time of the season. And I don't know what that's going to do to USC. Now, right now, they're heading to Spokane, and they've got they've got a tough opponent, but in Kansas State, the number 5 seed, and what I'm thinking though is that they can get beyond the Kansas State even without Juju.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that Kiki Irafans is going to probably take over that lead for them, and they are going to be able to get into the Final Four as I predicted, or the round of I'm just going to keep my prediction for now, and we'll see where it goes from there. But Juju, she's going to be there, with her cast on, and with, she is going to be out there with them. She is going to be something of an assistant coach. That's my guess. If the doctors let her travel, she's going to be there. Now, I've had not an ACL tear, but kind of a similar injury in that my ankle snapped, and I remember saying, but I got to cover a Bulls game the next day. And they're
been there.
My doctor said, what the hell are you thinking of? And I'm like, I got to cover a Bulls game the next day. What are you going to do? He goes, well, we can put you in a walking cast. We can do that. But you're going to have to make sure that you don't put any pressure on that leg. So I'm hopping all over the United Center with my crutches. And this 5-pound walking cast on my leg, and traveling. Mercifully, I'm so glad they had the elevators, but outside of that, I was the guys in the press box were always so nice, and they were always oh, can I carry that for you, because I've got a backpack with all of my equipment in it and media guides and such. So I could see Juju doing the same kind of thing, and because she's not going to want to let her team down. But it's, I think, though, that in the end, at least for USC and K-State, I don't think that K-State's defense is up to it. I just think that they are going to it's a lopsided matchup even without Juju. And
here's the wild card player. Here's the wild card player that also has come back from a torn ACL and now helping Kansas State. Ioka Lee. There's 6.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she missed. Well, she missed a lot of the Big 12 season last year with various injuries, including that. And she's 6'6". She's a center. She's very aggressive. She is going to be a threat with that. The other one is Serena Sindel, and she too is a serious threat, and anything can happen in this. So, I'm saying the Trojans are going to have to really make a concerted effort. They're going to beat them with athleticism, though, and defense. Because
for USC to win, they've got to play high octane, high speed basketball as they've done all year. They come into Saturday averaging a little over 87 points per game.
Right.
Kansas State is at 78. Kansas State wants to slow it down. USC has got to play 100-mile-an-hour basketball, as I love to say. The lopsided matchup of the weekend is in Spokane. It's the game before it. It's Oklahoma and UConn, 3 versus 2.
God.
And I say lopsided, even looking at this line here. UConn is favored by almost 15 points, and I think that'll be the end of the first quarter.
Right.
Here's the thing. This is UConn's 31st straight Sweet 16.
Yep.
There is something about Gino Auriemma's teams that just come alive no matter where they're seated, they come alive during the NCAAs. And Oklahoma, the Sooners, are high scoring. They are in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2013. Now that's 12 years. However, look at you've got to understand though that you've got Paige Beckers on that team, the first team All-American, dropping 34 points against the Jackrabbits back in the final game. You also have Ozzie Fudd, who is extremely healthy at this point, and so I don't see them out of the Final Four, which was another one of my predictions. And I see them not rolling over Oklahoma. I see them sort of doing enough to get by Oklahoma. I see them doing just enough. I don't see them rolling over Oklahoma because Oklahoma has a damn fine team, and we will see. They are a force to be reckoned with. They have the 5th best scoring offense in the nation with 85.4 points per game. And so I just believe strongly though that there is something about Gino Auriemma that is going to propel UConn into not just the Elite 8 but the Final Four.
That's where I picked them.
Yep. We all did, honey. We all did.
We all picked UConn to get to the Final Four. Finally, to get back to the Final Four. I'll tell you a sneaky good matchup on Friday. It's about Tobacco Road. I had the pleasure of having Chris Edwards on the show earlier this week, the radio voice of the Duke Lady Blue Devils. It's North Carolina and Duke at 2:30 on Friday in Birmingham.
I am so excited. I'm excited because I have always loved the Duke versus North Carolina matchup, male, female. I mean,
listen, I've been to a few Duke UNC games.
Where?
Games
Chapel Hill or
both.
Really? Oh my God.
The first time I saw Carolina Duke in person was February 2nd, 1995 at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I was warned that Cameron Indoor Stadium gets loud. I knew this from watching on television. I experienced the Cameron Crazies in person and blew up my voice. They blew out my ears. And just as I thought everything was going to be okay, Jeff Capel hit a 60-foot shot to force double overtime, and I was done.
How cool.
That game ended 102-100 when Cherokee Parks, there's a name for you, had a chance to Wojciechowski had a chance to put one back. Cherokee Parks had a chance to put one back as the horn sounded.
Oh my gosh, back to Cherokee, huh?
Yep.
That's wow.
And we all, after that final horn sounded, doesn't matter if you were cheering for Duke or North Carolina, you can all breathe because we couldn't have survived. At 9,300 people in Cameron Indoor Stadium, we couldn't have survived a third overtime.
No,
we could not have survived a third overtime.
You would have had a lot of ambulances lining up for not only the team, but for the fans, all of them.
Duke University Hospital would have been busy that night.
Yeah.
They could have handled them. That's a pretty good hospital.
Duke University Hospital could have been very busy. And then you got another sneaky good matchup at 5 p.m. It's 4th seed Maryland. This is in Birmingham. 4th seed Maryland take on the top overall seed in South Carolina. Now remember, Maryland survived Alabama in 2 overtimes, 111 to 38. What say you about that matchup on Friday?
Oh my Lord. Let's just say that this is going to be a concerning matchup for South Carolina. Remember that when they were really pushed by the number 9 seed Indiana, and their win over Indiana, which surprised me, was 64-53.
Yep. Now,
I would have expected much more from Dawn Staley's team, but they, let's say it was, I would say that it's going to be a battle of 2 coaches who are scrappers and Hall of Famers. And Brenda Fries is just the most amazing coach. I've talked to her before. I've been out to their very, very, very nice stadium in Maryland, and I will say that since she hasn't won a championship since 2006, she is going to be just pounding the players. Now they are the Terps have bounced into the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in 5 years, but that overtime victory in the round of 32, 111 to 108, they did have home court advantage, which I think always helps a team. But and they also had 3 players who scored over 20 points in a double-double. So they are not going to have that kind of advantage playing South Carolina. My sense is on this neutral court, it's going to be South Carolina that shines. I think that it's going to be South Carolina that is going to be the one to really dominate this Maryland team. As much as I love Brenda, and I don't see it. By the way, you never gave your prediction for UNC versus Duke.
I'm not.
Why?
Because
Come on, you wussy. Come on.
Well, if she challenges me like that, I'm going to have to say something. I am going, I hate doing this because I got friends on both sides.
I don't care. You're a professional, Brian.
Not today. I'm not. After what I've said a few times over. Don't be surprised if there is an extra period that will decide it. But I'm leaning on Duke's defense to get the job done.
I am going. I'm right with you. I love Carol Lawson, their head coach. I love the fact that they have clawed their way back into the good graces of the NCAAs again, because they've been out of it for so long. And I mean, they were one of the first teams that I ever was able to cover and really enjoy. And so I love this matchup. I have to agree with you. I can do no more than agree with you. However, if when Duke gets to the Elite Eight, they're out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know, because they're going to face South Carolina 2 versus 1, but South Carolina.
I don't see it yet. I could maybe see it in another year, although I have to say I don't like dynasties as a general rule, except for the Bulls in the 1990s.
I'm sitting over here with the 2000 Patriots dynasty. What does that say?
Right.
I'm sitting over here with the 49ers dynasty of the 80s and the 90s. Of course, the Bulls of the 90s. Look,
You already know the dynasty.
Game 2 of the NBA World Championship Series, I was in the stadium,
Mm-hmm.
losing my mind, losing my voice, and losing my ears. So
and your brain is guessing
everything else. I barely knew how to get home that night. So been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
You already know the groups I had.
With this particular matchup, it's going to be Duke's defense that's going to carry them into the regional final on Sunday. And more than likely, they will face South Carolina. Go ahead.
I got Duke in that game, but it's going to be last possession.
Yeah.
It's a last possession game.
It's going to come down to the wire. And as I said, do not be surprised if there's an extra period involved.
I do have a question, though. I do have a question that I need addressed. We talked about it Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask Allison about this.
Okay.
Why are these big wigs dragging their feet and dragging their heels, dipping their toes in the water when it comes to these women's tournament games being in small locales? Why can't they put them in bigger locations?
Yes.
How about this with Jay Spivey?
Let's hear
I 100% agree with you. Was that Victor?
Yes,
I thought so. The thing is that the NCAA is slow to move on every single progressive step that you can make. And the thing is, they're like, well, what if this happens? Then we won't get, this amount of people in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They are probably the last of the groups to actually support the progress of women's basketball. Remember that the NCAA didn't even claim the women until 1982. They'd been playing since 1974.
Yes.
I watched the Mighty Macs. I know this. And so, they won they were an incredible group, watch the movie if you know nothing about the Mighty Macs, but it was, and so I think it's a matter of what they perceive as the popularity of women's sports versus the men's sports. Understand that the men's game is the most betted on after the Super Bowl. So they've I think what they're going to need to realize is that the women's game has filled stadiums, off season and during the season for a long time. Have you seen the crowds in the early days? They have really filled every stadium. It used to be you had 10 people in a women's stadium. And I think the NCAA group is so provincial and conservative that they don't see the possibility of opening it up until it's guaranteed that they can sell out 20,000.
Then all I have to say for them to put it to the test is 3 words: Lucas Oil Stadium.
Try it out. It's like
you can't tell me if they can fit, and I'll say this until they actually act on it. If you can put 55,000 people in Kinnick Stadium, which is open air, by the way, exhibition game between Iowa and DePaul, what the hell says you can't fit 70+ thousand in Lucas Oil Stadium, fill it to the brim, SRO for the women's Final Four? There was a matchup some years ago, I think it was Tennessee and UConn, and they played that in Phoenix, Arizona. In open air.
You wouldn't have a WrestleMania if there wasn't a gamble involved.
Exactly.
That's a good
you're
point.
not wrong.
Because after 19 after 2000, I beg your pardon, they started putting WrestleMania in big stadiums.
Football stadiums, yeah.
In big stadiums, because the first one, WrestleMania 18, was I want to actually, let me try that again. The first ever WrestleMania was in a big stadium was the Silverdome.
The Silverdome, yep.
And then 3 years later, they went to the Sky Dome in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And then since WrestleMania 18, they've had it in football or baseball stadiums. So what makes you think you can't put women's basketball, especially the Final Four, in stadiums like State Farm in Phoenix, Arizona, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, as I said before, and the Superdome in New Orleans? If they can test the waters with the Alamo Dome, and I'm willing to bet you when they go to the Alamo Dome, they won't open the whole stadium up, because as Ali says, they're so provincial and they're so conservative.
They're scared.
They're flat out scared. You want to test the waters? Open the Alamo Dome all the way up.
Look at UConn itself. All of the UConn faithful could fill. Listen, I've got a couple matchups that we have to talk about.
Okay.
Texas and Tennessee. Number 1, Texas. Number 5, Tennessee. Texas is going down. That is.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. I'm doing that one Saturday, because I have Saturday off. My wife's going to be at home. Texas will beat Tennessee, but it will be close.
Let me say this. The Lady Vols are the top scoring offense in the country.
And they're going to get slowed down by Texas's defense.
They will be down and not out. And the last time they played, Texas came away with an 80-76 victory.
It's going to listen. I'm not doubting the Tennessee Volunteers. The Ghost of Pat Summitt lives. All right. Tennessee's been one of my favorite teams to follow in women's basketball forever. And Pat Summitt is the reason forever.
Yes.
However, I have one name for you, Allie, that will seal the deal against Tennessee, and her name is Madison Booker.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I understand that. And I will definitely try and raise you.
There's a bet going on here.
Tennessee forced 23 Buckeye turnovers in the second round.
I picked the Volunteers. I picked the Volunteers to take down Ohio State. However, you're talking about a team in Texas that takes care of the basketball, and I say it's going to come down to a possession from Madison Booker that will seal the game for Texas. And I wouldn't be surprised also if there's an overtime involved and if one of these reaches triple digits.
We'll see who's right, won't we? I mean, Madison Booker is fabulous.
But folks, anybody who knows the friendship between me and Allie, we have bets like this all the time. We've done it for 13 years, and we got to scram. Allie, thank you so much, my love, for coming on. We appreciate you. We'll see you next Thursday.
You too. Have a great week.
You too. I'm not going to be stupid and predict a blowout between Texas and Tennessee. Matter of fact, it could be a 2-overtime classic like Maryland and Alabama was.
Since we're talking about betting, we might as well go ahead and bring up the tag team of betting when it comes to Snowman Multimedia. And that's, of course, BetUS.com and Wanna Parlays.
Oh, boy.
With that being said,
we got to get out of here. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Opening day today on Snowman Multimedia. So long, everybody.
Dear NCAA, get your gray wig wearing heads out your asses and fix your ish, you dumb some bitches. Bye.